We're live now.
Thank you, Katrine. Welcome back, everyone. So we left it at after we spoke with the last speaker. We got some clarification comments from Member Macaulay. Now we're going to go to our next speaker, Peter Thachuk. Peter, you with us?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hi,
we can.
yes, it's Peter Thatcher here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, sir. Please go ahead. You have 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. You scared a techno peasant like myself by moving it from the AM to the PM. I'm glad I'm back here. But good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to address your committee. My name is Peter Thatchuk, and in a pre-amalgamation Toronto, I was a member of the East York Committee of Adjustment for 8 years and its chair for 5. Currently, I am a member of the Cliffside Scarborough Village Southwest Community Association, and it is in that capacity that I'm here to speak with you today against this application. The 4 tests, as committee is well aware, are not a buffet. To fail even one of the 4 tests is to fail them all. While we must not slavishly adhere to numbers when determining the appropriateness of a specific proposed variance, one may still look at whether the absolute percentage difference between what is required and what is being proposed may or may not be considered minor in nature. Specifically as it relates to these applications for 37 Alistair, the absolute percentage difference between the requirement that frontages in this neighborhood be a minimum of 12 meters or 40 feet, for those of you like myself who can still think in imperial, divided by 7.61 meters or 25 feet, indicates that the relief being sought by this application is 58% greater than what is currently required. 58%. A difference of this magnitude cannot, by its very nature, be considered minor, and for this reason, the application must fail. For those of you not persuaded by the mathematical facts here to deny this application, I would strongly suggest that you consider whether the average person would actually see the physical difference between 7.61 meters versus the required 12 meters. To that, I would have to say that visually, the average person would see a pronounced difference here. You would have to. I'm therefore left with the conclusion that this application must be denied for the simple reason that 7.61 meters, 25 feet, is materially smaller than the required 12 meters, 40 feet. Additionally, it is my understanding that most of the homes in this area have frontages that are 15 meters or 50 feet or greater, and not one on the street is less than 12 meters. It is my further understanding that an almost identical application at 119 Harewood Avenue on a street in the immediate vicinity, registered under the very same plan of subdivision, was denied by this committee. Lastly, we note Councillor Crawford has submitted a letter of opposition to this application on behalf of the concerns of his constituents. Subject to any questions, that's my submission, and I would very much like to thank you for your time.
Thank you, Peter. Members of the committee, any questions? Okay, I see none. All right, we'll go to our next speaker, Janet May. Thank you.
I'm here, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Janet May, and I am the co-chair of the Planning and Development Committee of the Cliffcrest Scarborough Village Southwest Residents Association. CSV-SWRA is an incorporated not-for-profit association working to preserve the unique nature of our neighborhoods. Like Councillor Crawford and most of the previous speakers, we do not support this minor variance application. Katrine, could you kindly put Appendix 2 from our written submission on the screen, please? The applicant is requesting a variance to the bylaw that go back to a very old plan of subdivision and revert frontages to 7.61 meters. There are, as you can see from this chart, 683 lots in the area, or I should say properties in the area, between Brimley to the west, McCowan to the east, Oak Ridge to the north, and St. Clair Kingston Road to the south. Of these lots, 99.6% have frontages greater than 7.62 meters. The average frontage in the neighborhood is 15.5 meters. The average frontage on Allister is 16.2 meters. This is the character of the neighborhood. Since 1927, the planning guidelines have changed, with current regulations recognizing a consistent lot pattern for the area of the Cliffcrest community. The intent of the official plan is clearly recognized in Chapter 4, Land Use Designations. Designations that reinforce physical character. There are 4 land use designations shown on the plans: neighborhoods, apartment neighborhoods, parks and open space areas, and utility corridors. These help to protect and reinforce the existing physical character of these areas. Toronto's hundreds of low-scale residential neighborhoods with their distinctive character, together with local institutions that serve their populations, are prized by residents. The official plan also provides development criteria for neighborhoods. The stability of our neighborhood's physical character is one of the keys to Toronto's success. While communities experience constant social and demographic change, the general physical character of Toronto's residential neighborhoods endures. Physical changes to our neighborhoods must be sensitive, gradual, and fit the existing physical character. A key objective of the official plan is that new development respect and reinforce the general physical patterns in the neighborhood. Again, referring to the official plan 4.1.5, development in established neighborhoods will respect and reinforce the existing physical character of each geographic neighborhood, including, in particular, prevailing size and configuration of lots. Most of the letters of support for this application are from people who are either owner non-occupiers and could benefit from approval of these variances, or do not live in the immediate vicinity of 37 Allister, and this needs to be taken into account. In contrast, most of those who oppose the application live in the immediate area and will be impacted by development activities. In addition, forestry is recommending refusal. This application fails to meet the intent and purpose of the official plan, is not minor, is not desirable, and fails to meet the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaws. This application fails the 4 tests of the Planning Act, and we urge the members of the Committee of Adjustment to refuse it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Janet. Members of the committee, you have any questions for Janet? Member Said, go ahead, please.
Thank you to the speaker. You were mentioning about the, I'm just referring to the chart which you showed about the frontage. And I'm looking at that, 66 lots, and majority of them is more than 12 meter. The frontage is 12 meter on that. May I ask, what is the source of this information? Where did you get all this information?
It actually came from the TLAB hearing related to 119 Harewood, and the data was compiled by the expert witness in the case, the city planner. We actually do, I think we do have a reference at the bottom of the chart as to where we sourced it. I will look it up. Oh, I don't have the chart on my presentation. I think Katrine would have to put it back up
This
again.
is the one which Katrine showed it to us. And I'm
Katrine, can you
looking at
please put
that.
it back?
Yes.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
give a moment, please. She'll put it back.
Yes.
Yes.
It's in our package as well.
So at the bottom, we do source where we got the information from.
Is that good, Mr. Said? Can we move ahead?
Yes, that's fine. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. And our next speaker is Mr. Tom Cassanda. Can we have Tom, please? Oh, Tom's not there. Okay, so staff tell me that Tom has not signed in. So that brings us to the end of the list for speakers for both item 4 and item 5. So I'm going to go back to Mr. Jurusik now. Mr. Jurusik, can you please come back? Are you there, Peter? That's okay. Mr. Peter Jurusik, the agent?
We go. I can't unmute myself. They just unmuted me now.
No, that's okay. There was a little bit of a little confusion there. All right, so we'll have you now, Peter. 5 minutes, and then we want to hear from you, your response.
Yes. So I just want to. They cite the one for 119 Harewood. Now, 119 Harewood, just to point out, it was one property owner at that time for that lot. Here we have two legal pins and two separate property owners that are now in a conflict because they want to build two houses, and they're currently sharing this dwelling. In terms of the comments made by the Ratepayers Association, I've been before the committee several times with some applications in this area. In one breath, the buildings that we are proposing on a larger lot are too big, out of scale with this community that has smaller houses. In this breath, it's a small house and the lot size are too small. There's always this conflict. When we look at the physical characteristics, granted, the lot sizes in this instances are smaller than the registered legal lots of record, but the houses that are being proposed are more in line with the current bungalow houses that are there. Most of the dwellings there are between 12 to 1,800 square foot bungalows, and we're proposing an 1,800 2,000 square foot dwelling on the property. So when you look at the physical character of the community, you can't just look at the lot sizes, because the prevailing house type in those areas are smaller houses, and we're proposing two smaller houses, which will fit more in line with the existing house designs there. The lots, granted, are smaller. However, the prevailing houses, because when we apply for larger houses, the same argument's always made by the group saying these larger houses don't meet the physical character of the community because they're smaller bungalows. Now that we're doing a smaller house, now that's not fitting the character community. So we have some issues here. And the main issue here I had was with the with the official plan. It was mentioned that the development must fit the community. The official plan states it must generally fit the development of the community. It's not an absolute in this regard. We're doing our best here to develop something. As I mentioned, the houses themselves do meet the requirements of zoning provisions, and we're trying to bring into a situation here on two legal lots of record. And leave that to the committee if they have any questions.
Thank you. Members of the committee, any questions? Any questions for Peter? Member Gary, please go ahead.
Yes, Peter, just to understand the ownership a little better, are the ownerships related or corporately related in any way? You're saying there are two different owners of the two registered lots, but and they have a conundrum in terms of trying to build on each lot. But just wanted to know if there's some uniformity amongst the ownership there.
I don't know the relation between the ownership, if it's a partnership on this property, or if there's a familial relationship. I'll be honest with you, I've never asked them if there's a relationship in that regard. I just do know through the legal documentation, one is under a corporation, and I believe the other one is under another person's name. So there are two legal lots of record under the requirements under the Act for having registered properties.
Yeah, no, I understand and realize that there are whole lots on a plan of subdivision, but yeah, I'm just wondering about the ownership there in terms of carrying out the effect that you want. Okay, Madam Chair, that's fine.
Thank you, Member McKay. Thank you, Peter. If there are no further questions or comments, can we please take the matter into committee? Yes, applications 4 and 5. So we're dealing with items 4 and 5 together, 37A Allister Avenue and 37B Allister Avenue. Okay, all right, we now take the matter into committee. Members of the committee, any comments? Member Macaulay, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If we could take a look at the figures showing 37A and 37B, Alistair, the street pattern. And I want to reiterate, I'm a committee member here, but some of the planning terms still need to be considered by us. These are not building lots. The two lots on a plan of subdivision are not building lots. If they were building lots, the variances would not be required. We wouldn't even be seeing them. There is, as I was saying, a time when the plans of subdivision were created, and at a later date, the zoning was put on them. And that is the pattern that we have here, where we've got a whole community, really, number of streets, showed 66 lots on McAllister, all being larger and in accordance with the zoning bylaw than the underlying plan of subdivision. That Gary McKay's question was a good question, because to acquire one lot upon which you can't get a building permit is not a great idea. And I would hope that the purchasers got legal advice. And perhaps at a later date, the city needs to do something about this. But that is not the matter for us. The matter for us is it appropriate to create two building lots of 25-foot frontage where none of the lots in the area have frontages of 25 feet? The other part of that is it creates a precedent for the area. There are a lot of lots, and there's changes. Peter has mentioned that there are a number of people buying these lots and building bigger houses. And I appreciate what Peter is saying, that in some cases we would like to see some of these smaller houses. But if we allow this one to be 25 feet, then there are 66 other lots in this area that could come up to more than 120 units on this street. And the major concern with that is not only does it change the character of the street, but the infrastructure, the roads, the sewers, the water mains were not constructed for a doubling of that density. Therefore, I see this application and the adjacent application as two applications that are not, in my mind, variances. I will not put forward the motion at this time. I will let other members of the committee speak.
I don't think there's a motion yet.
No, I'm not going to put forward a motion yet.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
waiting to see whether the other members that wish to speak.
Okay. Member Taylor, please go ahead. Member Taylor, you are muted.
Sorry.
No problem.
It's unfortunate that the zoning amendment process never did happen. That's why we're here today, to reflect these two lots, these two registered lots. However, they are two registered legal entities. And I think the only way to satisfy the concerns that I've heard, both from some of the people in the neighborhood and Member Macaulay, would be to deregister these lots from the plan of subdivision. We don't have the power or authority, and perhaps speaking for myself, the inclination to deregister these lots. They are legal entities. They both enjoy RD zoning, and buildings can be accommodated on each of these lots in accordance with all of the zoning standards except for the frontage and area which were set upon the registration of the plan of subdivision. So I see these two applications as being technical in nature only, and I feel that they meet the four tests, and I will make a motion to approve them both 4 and 5 with urban forestry condition number 2 attached to the approval of application number 4, and urban forestry condition number 3 attached to the approval of application number 5. So that, Madam Chair, would be my motion.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have a motion on the floor. Unless there's a pressing comment, I would like to have a seconder to this motion. Okay, can I have a seconder, please? I will second the motion. All in favor of this motion? All opposed? Okay, so the motion fails. The application, I need a new motion now. I need a motion now, please. Member Macaulay. I can't hear you, Member Macaulay. You're muted.
Okay,
Go
I'm
ahead.
there.
Yes,
I'll
go
put
ahead.
forth a motion to refuse the application for number 37A and 37B, Alistair Avenue. I don't think we need to have the variance numbers, the applications, but
No.
the two single applications. I do not believe that these applications are appropriate. They don't meet the intent of the official plan. They don't meet the intent of the zoning bylaw. They would result in doubling of the density, not only on these two lots, but on the entire street of 66 lots. And that is not a minor variance.
Okay, thank you. May I have a seconder, please? Member McKay, please go ahead.
Madam Chair, I would second that motion to refuse these applications.
Okay, all in favor of this motion? All opposed? All right, so motion carries and the application has been refused. Thank you. We now go to item number 8. And item number 8 is 8 Arden Crescent. Can I please have the agent, Leo Mestrandier, please? All right, thank you. Leo, you're with us?
Afternoon, everyone. Yes.
Good afternoon, Leo. Would you like to present or would you rather go into the questions directly?
Yeah, I can make it.
Could you speak a bit louder, Leo?
Yes, I can make a brief presentation.
Sure, please go
Can you
ahead.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You just have to speak a bit louder and closer to the mic. So yes, you have 5
No problem.
minutes to make your presentation. Please go ahead.
So yes, address concerns, and we revised our application, and that's the application you have in front of you.
Leo, you're cutting out unless you go silent after a bit. You're cutting out quite a bit.
I also met with the adjacent neighbor, spoke to the adjacent neighbor, and one of their concerns was the amount of windows we had on the west side. So we revised our elevations again to satisfy the my west elevation. You can see that we reduced the windows dramatically.
Leo, you're cutting out.
I'd like to remove item number 4 and item number 5 on the
Leo, last I heard from you is that you want to remove variance number 4 and variance number 5 from the list?
correct.
Okay, so,
Yes.
and 1, 2, and 3 remain the same?
Yes. So in speaking to from 33% to 37% is minor in nature and also consistent with what's been approved in the area. I also have some attachments that show
I can't hear you,
it
Leo.
is 19.
We can't hear you.
I'm not I'm not sure why.
Are you moving away
Well,
from your mic as you're talking?
no, I'm not. Actually, I'm in front. Um,
Okay.
19 Arden was approved. Hello?
Yes, Leo, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you
So
keep cutting out. So try to be closer to the mic and we'll see.
19 Arden, 7.7% coverage. And in speaking to our building length, it's also consistent with what's been approved. And as far as our side yard setback, that's an existing condition. So it's my submission that it does meet the four tests. And if you have any questions,
Sure. Okay, thank you, Leo. So what I gathered is that, as you can see on the screen, you have requested that items, variance number 4 and 5 be removed. So those have been struck out. So we have 3 variances now, 1, 2, and 3. 1 dealing with the lot coverage, 2 dealing with the side yard setback abutting a street, and 3rd dealing with the building height. Okay, thank you. Members of the committee. Yes, Member Macaulay, please go ahead.
I have a question as to what the variance is, the side yard variance on Arden. Can Katrine bring up the plot plan? Sorry, the plot plan. I have it on page 434, which shows the porch and the balcony as it relates to Arden at Arden Crescent. And I'm wondering if that is the existing situation that they are talking about, or whether this is a revision.
So Member
The problem
Macaulay,
is Arden Crescent is a long street, and it's really got 2 frontages.
Member Macaulay, this is the plan on page 412 of the PDF. Are you looking at the right plan?
I'm looking at page 434, which
For
shows the
the picture?
location of the house. Yeah, it's the picture.
Okay, so 434 is a picture of the house, but have you looked at the plan
It shows
itself?
its relationship to Arden Avenue, and that's the variance he's requesting.
Could you go back, could you look at the site plan A1? This is 412 of the PDF. So it shows a setback of, from Arden of 1.85. That's what's being requested.
If you look at the plot, sorry, if you look at
The site plan?
the, that's the one I'm looking at here. Because as you can see, Arden is on the right and Arden is also on the top of this map. And my concern is the setback from Arden dealing with the porch and the balcony above the porch immediately adjacent to the sidewalk.
Okay, so the setback that's requested is 1.185 for the building, and I do not see a variance for the setback for the new covered porch to the property line. There's no variance for that. We can
There's no
clarify
variance
this.
for
Yeah, we can clarify this,
yeah,
Mr.
if you can
Yeah.
have clarification, I'd appreciate it from.
Okay, sure. So can we have Leo, Mr. Andrew back, please? Okay, Leo, you heard the question. There's some confusion around the setback for the new covered porch.
no, there's no variances for that. The setback is to the house, which is existing. It's the existing dwelling and the proposed. So we're keeping it in line.
And there's no variance required for any setback from the porch to the property line along Arden Crescent.
We submitted for a zoning review and I guess not. They didn't list anything for that.
Okay. Member Macaulay, does that help you?
It's whatever he has asked for and they've considered.
Yeah, so there's no variance for that setback, okay? So the only variance that's being requested is for the existing or the proposed setback to the building. Okay? All right, thank you very much. Leo, any more questions? Okay, I see none. All right, let's move and speak with our speakers. So I have two speakers here, Brigida and George Omar. So I'm going to start with Brigida.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead, ma'am. You have 5
Okay,
minutes.
Perfect. And I'm going to try to get through as quickly as possible. And I'm going to use the existing plans that are online. So first of all, I'd like to thank the city, the committee, and the chairperson for allowing me this opportunity to speak. I want to start off by apologizing. I never thought I'd be in this position before, and the past few weeks have been quite overwhelming. Although my first letter of objection was submitted as per the timeline allotted, it was ill-prepared and quite frankly naive. It was only when the plans were reviewed in greater detail with a friend of mine that understood the implications that the alarm bells went off. As such, I request that my addendum that was sent on December 7th, or 6th rather, be taken into consideration because it outlines my concerns in its entirety. I've lived at 10 Arden for 14 years. I'm the proud single mother of 2 teenage sons, and both boys have enjoyed the safety of Arden's tree-lined setting since they were toddlers. The safety of my family and our community is paramount to me. And I ask that you, for a minute, take on that lens and try to put yourself in my shoes. When I originally received the notice, I was actually pleased. I finally thought, oh goodness, someone's going to clean up this house and it's going to get renovated because little's been done to date. People drive by and look to the other side, and have said to me, poor Brigida, that you live next door to that mess. Like all of you sitting before me, the last 2 years have been challenging. Losing the ability to go to the office and my children go to school has been mentally challenging. Our safe space has always been our staycation in the backyard. Look at our lot size. My children and I have spent hours each day in the yard. Our grossly oversized west wall, so I haven't seen any revised plans, is 6 feet, 6 inches taller than what is permitted by city, running down the whole stretch of my property. This would completely overshadow my property. And, as my children said the other day, Mom, that's the size of an NBA basketball player, and that's the variance. The variances have been presented to our community as minor. Individually and taken together, the variants are far from minor. The scale and size of the proposed development grossly exceed the city's bylaw 569213. This will be a monstrous house, and it will not fit into our community. The proposed plans include 12 windows in total for the west wall that faces me. These are not small washroom windows. They are large windows looking right into my private property. This is completely offside. With an allowance of 7% max of unprotected openings, the proposal in front of us is unrealistic because approximately half of them are just over that limit. So why would one have so many windows? Well, it's with expected certainty and dread that 8 Arden will be turned into a multi-rental unit. Why? Because I've been living beside that for 7 years. There are 3 tenants, or there have been coming and going throughout those 7 years, 3 rooms, tenants occupying 3 rooms. I've sat back for 7 years and watched people smoke cannabis outside of my front yard. You can drive by daily and see an old man sitting there with a big pipe between his legs. I've heard loud music. I've turned a blind eye. I didn't want to be that neighbor, but it's finally enough. It's a new suite. It's going to be made into multi-units. To kind of further support that sentiment, just look at the plans. Why would a house have 4 entrances? There's a side entrance on the side beside me. There's a front entrance. If you look at the plans, it could easily be divided midway into two units, just adding a little kitchenette. The same, there'd be an entrance on the east side and on the south side. Once again, this is, once everything's up and done, this would easily be divided into 4 units with 5 bedrooms upstairs for the family. So what is the city going to offer me as protection once this is built? Who is going to manage the infractions? Nothing. And that's why I've not said anything to date. I share these concerns with my fellow neighbors. At a dead-end street, we're combining Arden and Rockham. We're a tight-knit community, approximately 80 homes. So far, 4 letters of objections have been submitted, and 23 people have come forth and signed a petition of objection. Please note that signatures of 42 Arden are in the process of being added to the supporting documents. The plans recommend the west wall be constructed and move 3 feet closer to me. I heard Leo say that, we're keeping the east principal wall. But why are you not keeping the west principal wall? The simple answer is they're trying to take advantage of as much property as possible with no consideration to the community and no consideration to me and my family. With regards to the supporting material that was submitted, 4 of the properties are completely out of my community. Pharmacy Avenue is a busy street. They do not have the backyards that we have, right? I'm once again in a dead-end street. Now, also, there are a couple of streets on my, was it 16 and 19? One had no variances, and the other does not have the same lot size as well. So in conclusion, I believe that the plans fail the 4 tests. The variances questions are not minor. The proposal is not desirable, not appropriate, and grossly exceeds what's permitted by law, and it's not in the official plan are not maintained. And I stand here, or sit here rather, representing lots of people on Arden and Rockham. I'm sorry, I'm so emotional. It's been really hard.
No, thank you very much. Appreciate your comments, Brigida. And a couple of things. You talk about rear yard. I'm looking at the variances, and there's no request for variance for rear yard setback. So I'm assuming that they will meet the required rear yard setback. They're asking for an increase of building length of approximately 3 feet more than what's there permitted. In addition, you mentioned that they will be closer to your house, and I'm looking at your plan as well. You're on the east side of this property.
side.
Sorry, on the west side of this property. So there's no setback required or variance required for the setback. So they meet the required side yard setback. So they're well within their rights to build in accordance with the zoning bylaw, and they don't need a variance. So that's what I wanted to clarify. I know it's definitely bigger than what exists today. They are asking for a slight increase in the length and as well as the lot coverage. So I just want to put it on record that there's no other variances that are being sought for,
Oh, yes.
that'll bring the
I
building
agree with you.
closer to your property.
Yeah, and I understand that there is within the permitted moving that 3 feet closer to me. However, the argument that Leo had to keep the principal wall to avoid the variance number 2 to squash that is that we're keeping the principal wall. Why is the same not happening on my side? And as far as my concern with the backyard, it's the height and the windows. And these aren't small windows.
Okay, so I don't know, but there's no variance for height, so that I can confirm. But I don't know if you've seen the revised elevations. Have you taken a look at the revised elevations that were submitted on the agenda?
When were they submitted?
Okay, so Katrine, would you please bring up the revised elevation drawings on the west side? The notes indicate that they have eliminated some windows, which again, I'm going to allow Leo to comment on it, but I just want to, because we have you right now, I just want to make sure that you've seen this material. So it's the one after.
So if we,
No, not,
okay,
yeah, this one.
So that's, okay, so basically they've eliminated most of the windows then. Okay, and then what is the actual height? How, because when we were looking at it previously, it was 2 meters above what was allowed.
Height of what?
The height of the building itself?
Oh, the height of the building? So I'm looking at the height of the building, and it is 9 meters, and that 9 meters is permitted by the bylaw, and there's no variance for any increase in height.
Right. I was under the impression that it's 7 meters when you look at the grade, from the grade up, and that would be 2 meters over. And I had an engineer verify that for me.
Okay, so I can't speak to that, but what I can tell you is that these plans have been reviewed by the zoning examiner at the city, and the height meets the zoning requirements, hence there is no variance for the height of the building. It's shown as 9 meters, which is permitted.
Okay. I would like to argue that because I've been advised it should be 7. Yeah, I know. I understand. We're in the moment now, and it's
no, it's not. It's not even. Sorry,
yeah.
Brigida. It's not even about being in the moment. But I can tell you, I don't know who has given you the advice, but from a city standpoint, the experts who are who sit in the building department, they've looked at it, and they have not identified that as a variance. Okay? So that's the height, and you've looked at the walls, they've eliminated the windows. We can certainly have Leo talk more about it when he's back on the stand, but at this point, I really appreciate your comments. I just want to ask the committee members if they have any questions for you at this time. I see none. So thank you, Brigida, for your time. I appreciate the time you took to come and speak with us. I'm going to move on now and going to the next speaker on the list. It's George Omar Cincotta.
Yes, hi. Yes, thank you for letting me be part of this meeting. One of the concerns that I had is, okay, so my address is 12 Arden. Two houses from where this is going to take place. One of my concerns were that the height was the height and the windows, as when this is gonna start going on, they will look into my backyard. And also, another concern that I have was the parking. It's gonna be if it's gonna be enough parking for everybody there, as it's gonna be. It looks like it's gonna be a rental.
Okay, the zoning bylaw doesn't regulate rental versus ownership. It's to be maintained for it's a single-family detached dwelling unit.
Okay. Yeah, as we had problems before, our parking spaces in this house is just for one
Yeah.
car only. That's one of my concerns.
Okay, so based on what I can see, they probably meet the parking requirements. Because it's a single-family detached dwelling, whatever parking requirements are required, they're provided, those will be provided. I don't see any variance for any reduction in parking spaces or anything, so I'm assuming that they meet. That's all I can tell you. If you see more cars and if that's a concern, I would suggest that, you contact, the city at the time. But from our perspective right now, there's no parking variance that's being requested here. Okay,
Okay, thanks.
all right, okay, thank you very much, George. Any questions for George at this time? Okay, I see none. Thank you very much. Can we have Leo back, please? Thank you.
Yes. So I revised the west elevation and I removed quite a few of the windows to address the concerns of the neighbor. And what you have before you is what we're going to be proposing if approved. The height issues we had were regarding the architectural features above the windows. So I've eliminated them, so we have no further variances for those. And again, I just like to add that I did reduce the drawings to address planning concerns. Planning has no three variances left. One is existing, and the other two are consistent with what's approved on Arden.
Leo, you're cutting out.
Hello?
Yes, you cut out for us. Could you repeat what you said in the last few seconds?
I believe our proposal is consistent with what's been approved on and number one Arden, which I have in my supporting material.
Okay. All right, thank you. Can I, members of the committee, you have any questions for Leo? I see none, all right. Okay, so since we have no questions, are we prepared for a motion, or is there an internal discussion required? Oh, we lost Gary. No, he's back. Okay, all right, if there are no comments, then can I please have a motion on the application? the application has been revised. Just to remind everyone, variance number 4 and 5 were removed. Okay, all right, go ahead, Member Said.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think the remaining variances, which are 1, 2, and 3, they are minor in their nature as far as the lot coverage and the building lengths are concerned. So those are minor, appropriate. I therefore move the motion for approval of item number 8, and there are no conditions attached to that, as amended.
The application as amended. Okay. Can I make a suggestion? I know we are in the motion, but since an effort was made to talk about and actually provide plans or revise plans to reflect lower number or less number of windows, is there an appetite to include that in the motion to tie that elevation to the decision? Should members say you feel it appropriate?
I confirm that in my motion, Madam Chair.
Okay, so you want to tie it to the elevation drawing?
I agree. Yeah, that could be a part of my motion. I can repeat my motion again. I move the motion for approval of item number 8 as amended. Also the elevation plan to be tied, and there are no conditions attached to that.
Okay, just want to clarify this. So this is the elevation drawing A8, and this is dated December 3rd. And that's what we have on our file on the supplementary agenda. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve the application, subject to the condition that the decision be tied to the west elevation, drawing number A8, dated December 3rd, 2021. May I have a seconder, please? Member Taylor, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'll second the motion, Madam Chair, and if I may, just a couple of remarks that I've made several times on similar applications. It's important to consider proposals against what is permitted as of right. And in this case, no height variance, front yard variance, which is an existing situation, minor lot coverage variance, no FSI variance. So very supportable. And as I say, I second the motion.
Okay, thank you very much, Member Taylor, for your remarks. All in favor of this motion? The motion is carried and the application has been removed subject to a condition. Thank you. Moving to our next item, item number 14, and this is 5 Frolic Crescent. And can we have Kaushik Suthar, please?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members.
Good afternoon, Kaushik. So we have your application, and would you like to make a presentation or go to the questions if committee have any?
Yeah, I want to go to the questions.
Okay, perfect. So members of the committee, do you have any questions for Kaushik Suthar? The application is to construct a new 2-story detached dwelling with an integral garage, and we have 5 variances before us for permitted lot coverage of 39.82%, a proposed building length of 18.08, a proposed dwelling height of 9.41, and the 4th variance is also the height, and then the 5th variance is related to a platform size of 7.43 square meters. No questions. So Kaushik, there are no questions at this time of the committee. We would like to proceed with hearing from the speakers if that's okay with you and if there are no remarks at this time.
Yeah, that's okay with me.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so we'll go to our speaker here, Leslie Tugnut. Perfect, thank you. Leslie, are you with us? Hello, Leslie. You're signed in, we can see you. Can you unmute yourself if you're not unmuted?
Through the chair, it
sorry
seems.
about
Oh,
that.
sorry about that.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry about that.
That's
Yes, I'm Leslie Tugnut, and my family's owned the house across from the property at 5 Frolic since 1958. I previously submitted a lengthy objection to this proposal, but in light of what's happened recently, I have an addition to that. It's my understanding of this process that the applicant was required to post public hearing signage for 10 days prior to this meeting. And I saw that there's a completed affidavit to this that speaks to this on the city website. So I know that they're aware of this. The sign was initially posted on the evening of the 24th of November, and it was subsequently removed the next day by the applicants. I don't know if it was the agent, but someone arrived on December 4th and reposted the sign, but it was again removed by the applicants on the 5th. So this was after the deadline for participating, making submissions to participate in this meeting. And so it was really only up for one night. It was posted again yesterday, but there was really no point because the
Leslie, I
deadlines
would,
had
sorry,
passed.
Leslie, sorry to interrupt you. I hear you and thank you for bringing this to our attention, but I think with the time you've been given, I would rather have you delve into your concerns. Your comments have been noted regarding the notice. Could you please sort of pivot to the actual application, please?
Okay, I just wanted you also to know that I had contacted the committee office and was directed to provide photo evidence, which I did. So I contend that this should be deferred because the public outside of the 60-meter area didn't have the opportunity to be apprised of this or to respond.
Okay, and your concerns with the application, please?
My concerns were stated in my lengthy submission. I'm
Yes.
especially concerned with the balcony at the front of the house. There was no consultation with the neighbors that I'm aware of other than the one letter of support, which was from the next door neighbor who, interestingly enough, owns the only two-story house on this street. So I don't feel that this variance process has been respected
Okay.
by the applicant.
Okay, thank you very much. In terms of public consultation, it's always preferred and strongly encouraged. Unfortunately, it's not a requirement for the applicants to consult. Although I completely hear with you, it should be part of the process and, you know, that engagement should happen, but it's just that it's not a requirement, so I can't help you with that. With regards to your submission, yes, we have received and read through your very detailed submission, and I appreciate the time you took to provide us with that information. If you have nothing more to add, I would like to proceed to the applicant to respond. Is that okay?
Yes, I would like to know why the signage was removed.
Okay.
It seems clear, but I would like to hear it from the applicant.
Sure, absolutely. We'll ask that. Members of the committee, any questions for Leslie? Okay, I see none. All right, thank you very much, Leslie. Let's go back to Kaushik. Kaushik, are you there?
I am here. Yes, good afternoon. Yeah, just I want to know because the homeowners, they posted the sign on November and they sent me the confirmations and everything, pictures, and I forwarded to all the pictures to the committee for the posting. And I didn't notice for that one, nobody notified me. And yesterday I get the call message from the committee people, and right away I can contact the homeowners and the friends, and they told me the sign was out due to the heavy rain and winds, and they reposted again. And it's only the yesterday the sign was not there, but every time his sign was there because as per the owner let me know, as per my understanding.
So what you're saying
And
that the
regard,
sign was pulled down because of heavy rain or acts of
yes,
nature, but then it was reposted. But as far as
yes,
you know, the sign has always been up there except yesterday.
yes.
Okay, I would just like to get some clarification from staff on that. Staff, can you help me with
Yes,
that?
sure. Yeah.
Through the chair, under the Plan Act, there is a requirement that the sign be posted a minimum 10 days before the hearing. to ensure, as proof of that, of compliance with that requirement, we require a declaration and photos from the applicants, which we did receive. When we became aware that the sign was not posted for a period of time, we did confirm directly with the applicant if the sign had been posted, and we received the response that from the applicant that the sign had been was down due to weather, and then they reposted it the same day.
So it may have been temporarily down because of the weather, but it got reposted. Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
So from your perspective, there's no issues with the notice requirements?
No.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you very much, staff, for confirming that. Members of the committee, you heard the response from staff as well. Now, I go back to Mr. Kaushik Sutar.
Yeah, and regarding the, I am give the answer for the regarding the balcony platform area. We are doing the balcony just on the top of the proposed porch, and we are not doing any encroachment in the front yard, nothing's, and everything is just we have to use a porch roof as a balcony. That's it. For because they have the in-laws, so they sometimes they want to open the door and sit on the balcony, and there is no any issue regarding the music, no nuisance is there, and this room is only for their in-laws. So I think so this is a balcony is a minor variance because we have just covered the porch roof and use as a balcony.
Is that what is affecting your lot coverage? Or adding
Yeah,
to your?
that is affecting my
Okay.
lot coverage, yes.
Okay, so,
That is affect my
okay.
lot coverage, yes.
Okay, so the platform, because of the size of it, it's adding to your lot coverage. And of course, you're also
Yes.
asking for an increase in the building length as well. So that all sort of adds to the lot coverage.
Yeah, that's why, yes, that's
Okay, all right. So basically what we have is,
nature. Yeah. We are not asking any
yeah.
rear yard, side yards, everything. And regarding the height, so we are doing the 10 feet, 9 feet second floor. And that's why the height variance is 9.41. Only the 0.41 meter means 1 feet 8 inch higher than this, 1 feet 6 inch higher than the allowable.
Okay, so foot and a half, okay.
Nature, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
a little bit over, of less than 2
Yeah,
feet of
and we
increase
are
in
not
height.
asking for the main wall heights. So feet height is everything is within the permissible height.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. And the building length is also approximately 3 feet more than that's what's
Yeah,
permitted.
that's why the building length is, yes.
Okay. Members of the committee, any questions for Kaushik Sutar?
Madam Chair, there is a condition of urban forestry there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am aware of that one.
Okay, you're aware of that as well? Perfect.
Yes, yes, I am aware.
Okay, I'm just looking at your site plan here. Okay, if there are no comments or questions, can we take the matter into committee now and prepare a motion? Okay, let's go. Member Taylor?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm satisfied the requested variances meet the 4 tests under the Planning Act, and I move approval subject to urban forestry condition number 1.
May I have a seconder, please? Member Said, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As Mr. Don mentioned, the variances, 5 variances there, and we are satisfied with that. These are minor appropriate. I second the motion subject to the condition of urban forestry.
Thank you. All in favor of this motion? All right, the application is approved, subject to condition of urban forestry. Thank you. That brings us to the next item that was held, and that's item 15, 61 Bertha Avenue, and I have a conflict of interest on it, and I'm going to declare and move away. So, Member Macaulay, if you don't mind, could you please chair this item for me? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 61 Bertha Avenue. We have Nadine Erfren as the applicant and Jacqueline Montmarcut. Nadine, are you there?
Madam Chair, yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I thought Nadine was a woman's name, sorry. Do you wish to make a presentation to the committee?
Yes, Madam Chair, through you. We are requesting 2 minor variances, and we have 5 support letters submitted to the committee. We have worked with the staff. There are no community planning concerns. So hereby we request the committee to consider this for approval.
Okay, thank you. I note that urban forestry has a condition. Are you okay with that condition?
Madam Chair, I have not seen the condition. It's not even, I don't think it is posted on the website. But if you could let me know, I can confirm right away.
It's one of their conditions, number 2, for item urban forestry. So it's a standard condition.
That's perfect.
Okay. All right. We have a second speaker who wishes to speak. Jacqueline Montmarket. Is Jacqueline there?
Yes, I'm here.
Good. Would you like to proceed, please?
Sure. So I've gone over all the paperwork and I didn't have any complaints or anything. I've looked over the plans that they had. I'm in total agreement of what they want to do. I think they would add a lot to the neighborhood. I'm looking forward to the project finishing when it is. I think it will be a beautiful home, and I have absolutely no objections whatsoever to everything that was on the paperwork. I'm in total agreement with everything. And I just wanted to say that, obviously because I'm the neighbor, but I'm in full agreement of everything. It's they're very nice people, and I think it would be great to work with them over the project, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, thank you, Jacqueline. It's nice to hear some positive comments from the neighbors.
I know. I know.
Do I have any questions from the committee members? Can I have a motion from the committee? Member Said?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a pretty straightforward application. There are minor variances pertaining to the building height and building length. I appreciate Nadeem has understanding of urban forestry condition number 2, which is pertaining to the injury or removal of a tree, a privately owned tree, but this is standard condition. Positive remarks, as you said, Madam Chair, from the neighbors, so everything is going good. I move the motion for approval of item number 15, subject to the condition of urban forestry.
Do I have a seconder for that motion? Member McKay seconds that motion. All those in favor? The motion is carried. Thank you. And thank you, committee members. I'll take over whenever we have something that only lasts 3 minutes.
Through the chair, we're now on item 19.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Member Macaulay, for helping me with that item. And we are on item 19, which I believe is the last item for this session, for the morning session. Okay, so item 19 is 122 Warden Avenue. And
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Is this Tony Henriquez?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, Tony, just bear with me. Just getting in place now. So it's an application for minor variance, and we have 7 variances before us to construct a new dwelling. Okay, so Tony, would you like to make a presentation or go right into the questions?
I would go into the questions. I just want to make one thing clear. I have been in contact with the planner, and I did make one adjustment to the plans. I actually reduced the house a bit, and it's actually reduced to 2 variances, and I'm not sure if the committee has that information in front of them.
Just bear with me. Let me check if we have that information. We don't have that information, Tony, so could you please tell us what those changes are?
Yes, basically, I did get a zoning review from the city, and basically, item number 1 has been reduced from 0.8 to 0.796.
Just bear with me. So it's reduced from 0.86 to 0.79?
Yeah.
Okay, so the
It's
proposed
reduced
floor area is
0.
now 0.79, and what's the square meters?
It's 171.12.
171.12.
Was
Okay.
reduced from 180.89. And item number 3 has been reduced as well,
Okay,
the coverage.
and how much is that?
The coverage has been reduced to 36.6.
Oh, from 43.5, that's, oh. 36.6, you said?
Yes.
Okay, and what is the resultant square meters?
It's 70.94.
70.94 square meters. Okay, so I'm going to repeat. Variance number 1 has been modified, so now the proposed floor area is 0.79, which equates to 171.12 square meters. And variance number 3 has been modified, and now the proposed lot coverage is 36.6%, which equates to 70.94 square meters.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so which is actually, I'm kind of confused. So if you look at the notice, it says the permitted maximum lot coverage is 33% of the lot area, which is 70.94. So
I'm reading what I got from the, I'm sorry, it's 78.68. I'm sorry, I apologize.
yes, okay.
The proposed is the 8.68 square meters.
78.68?
Yes.
Okay, so 76.8. So 36.6% equates to 78.68 square meters.
33% equates to 70.94, and then I'm proposing 6.6, which equates to 78.68.
Okay, all right, now this makes sense. Okay, thank you very much for that. So committee members, hope you got that. Okay, perfect. Okay, so do you want to add more before I move on to speaking with the residents?
That was it for now.
Committee members, any questions? Okay, all right, let's move. So the first speaker on the list is, I'll just do a quick name call, just so that everybody takes their place. Jan Ferguson, May Chan, Simon Lim, Denise Bagari, Faizi Bagari, Krishan Chahal, and Mylene Betong. So I'll start with Jan Ferguson, please. Oh, Jan has not signed in. So Jan Ferguson has not signed in. Next speaker, May Chan. Okay, May Chan, staff has confirmed, has not signed in. Next speaker, Simon Lim. All right, Simon.
Hello.
Hello, Simon.
Yes, so we wrote a letter regarding all the variances. It seems like 2 of them have been adjusted. We live on 142 Warden, and our basic comments is, every time, so we have been a resident who's been affected by infill construction just to the north of us. And when that construction happened, some of the things that just to to go back on what happened, it would be good, if the new construction would always have the neighbors in mind, like in terms of if they are going to dig down deeper, they would offer something like water protection or waterproofing. And in terms of just to be considerate while the construction is happening. In terms of the variances, I mean, we just have some minor comments on it, and those were written in the letter. Other than that, there's no real things to point out.
Okay,
That's it.
okay. And did you quite catch the changes that were made today?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So items 1 and 3 have been reduced.
2 of them have been reduced. Yes, that's correct.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Simon at this time? I see none. All right. Thank you, Simon. We'll move to our next speaker, Denise Bagari. All right. Thank you. Denise, you're with us.
Hi there. I don't know if you can hear me.
We can hear you. Please go ahead, ma'am. You have 5 minutes.
Okay. Great. Thank you. So thank you, Madam Chair and committee members. So I'm the immediate next door neighbor on the north side. And I do see that though 2 of the variances were changed around the size of the property, which is great. Similar to Simon, I would just want to voice some concerns around the impact to the neighborhood. As you can appreciate, this is a ever-changing neighborhood. It's a very small, quiet community south of Kingston, and there's been a lot of construction, similarly small bungalows being torn down and 2-3-story buildings being put into their places. And I just wanted to voice a concern that with the impact on the construction to the community, there's a lot of young children on the street, and there's a house at 146 Warden Avenue that was, the sidewalk was never repaired. So I just want to voice the concern that we would appreciate that the construction workers take care of the community and replace any changes or modifications to the sidewalk up the street. There's no sidewalk currently. Those builders just built it, flipped and left. And I think that's a concern for the community here is a lot of time the construction workers are just flippers. It's not the residents that end up living here. So they don't really have a concern for the neighbors. But other than the variances, I think the variances were addressed around the sizes. But I would just kind of pause there. That would be it for me. Thank you.
Okay, so fundamentally your concerns are with construction more so than the application, right?
Yeah, and I'm not sure the scope of this committee, but just wanted to voice that. And the impact on the sidewalk. So another house, they did the same thing. It was a small bungalow, knocked it down at 146, and now there's no sidewalk there. It hasn't been paved or replaced. So I don't know if they're planning to do the same here, but I just request that the sidewalk be replaced if that's the case.
Okay, well,
For
thank you.
safety for the
Okay, no, appreciate that, Denise. Yes, you're right. That those matters are certainly outside of the scope of this committee, but your comments have been noted, and I'm sure appropriate departments will take care of it. Unfortunately, I can't help you with that. Okay, all right. Thank you, Denise, for your time. I'll move to our next speaker, Faizi Bagari.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't really have anything to add. We welcome new developments and good neighbors. As my wife indicated, we don't want to have any conflicts or issues, so we support whatever variances they need for them to get as much property value as they can. Just have respect for us as a neighbor, and please don't destroy our vehicles with dust and other things. But that is outside the scope of your committee. But thank you for your time, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to at least be a part of this.
Thank you very much, Faizi. It's quite refreshing to hear that, and it's very encouraging to see that new development is being welcomed. And I think I don't very often hear this, that it would probably improve the value of the property. So it's refreshing to hear that. Thank you very much, both Denise and Faizi. We'll move to our next speaker, Krishan Chahal. Okay, thank you very much, staff. Krishan has not signed in, so we are going to move now. Mylene Betong, perfect. Mylene, you're with us? Hello?
Through the chair, Mylene is signed in, has a headset hooked up, and is unmuted, so they might be having some audio issues.
Okay, so we'll give a few seconds just so that they can try to connect. So Mylene, it seems that you have connected, you have a headset, you're unmuted. we can't hear you. You may want to call in if that makes it better. Were they calling in or were they signed in? They were just signed in through WebEx. Okay. If you want to call in, the number is 416-915-6530. They've signed out? They're still there? Yeah, I'll give a few more seconds and then I will have to move you. It's just that because we see them, we just want to give them sufficient time. Okay, it's over a minute now. Mylene, I'm sorry, we'll have to move on. Sorry about that. So going back to the applicant now, we're going to go back to Tony Henriquez. Thank you. Tony.
Hello? Yes? Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Tony. So you heard the concerns. I think the speakers were generally happy with the changes. They had some concerns regarding construction. Any support you can offer them today?
Yes, I will. I will remind the owners and the contractors to follow all the construction rules and keep in mind of the neighbors. I will do that to everybody that works there. So hopefully that will help. I mean, construction is always a headache for everybody, but you know, I could definitely ask them to try their best and try to not disturb the neighbors too much. That's what I can do.
Okay, thank you very much. Members of the committee, any questions, comments? I see none. All right, okay, then that brings us to the end of the discussion. Let's take the matter into committee. Committee members, you heard the revisions through variance number 1 and variance number 3. I hope you jotted down the numbers. Any comments? I see none. All right. If none, then can we please have a motion on the application? And there's the urban forestry comments. Member Taylor, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I find the requested variances meet the 4 tests under the Planning Act, and I wish to recommend approval of the application as amended this morning, specifically variance number 1, reducing the proposed floor area to 0.79, which is 171.12 square meters. And with respect to variance 3, reducing the proposed lot coverage to 36.6%, which is 78.68 meters squared. So I move approval with those amendments subject to urban forestry condition number 3.
Thank you. May I have a seconder, please? Member Macaulay, please go ahead.
Madam Chair, I second that motion.
All in favor of this motion? The motion's carried and the application's approved. Thank you very much.
That's it.
That's it. That brings us to the end of our agenda for the morning session. And staff, you have some comments?
Through the chair, if the committee wishes, we can take a 30-minute break, but I will defer to the committee on that. Maybe reconvening at 3:15.
Okay, committee member 3:15, that's an hour.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, my apologies.
2:45, you mean?
2:45.
Okay, so committee members, 30-minute break, would that be sufficient? Okay, all right. So for all those who are listening, the committee is taking a 30-minute break after the morning session. The afternoon session that was scheduled to begin at 1:30, dealing with items 21 to 30, will be dealt with starting at 2:45. We will return at 2:45. Thank you. Any stream changes? Okay, all right. If there's any stream changes, it'll be on the screen. Okay.
Jason. Through the chair, I'd like to announce that for any of the YouTube viewers, when we return at 2:45, we will be using the YouTube Committee of Adjustment public hearing, October the 8th, 2021, Scarborough panel, December 8th, PM session part 1. That's the October 8th, December 8th, 2021, Scarborough panel, PM session for part 1. Thank you.